When it comes to cold approach, it's so frustrating to stand in front of a girl and get completely stuck in your head. Or worse, you're trying to talk, but the words come out as weird, boring, or maybe too friendly. This is why in this video, I will teach you how to get into a social flow state, even if you feel stuck in your head. For example, after work, or if you've just been very introverted for a while. So this video is split into 3 parts. In part 1, we check the 5 steps of flow and how they relate to meeting women. Part 2, we use flow in your social interactions. And in part 3, we check the common mistakes to avoid and basically how to get unstuck. Once I was able to unlock these principles that I'm about to teach you for myself, it opened up so many opportunities to meet ladies in real life, so please pay attention. But before I explain the steps, it's important for you to understand that you might have been thinking about social flow incorrectly the whole time. You might think something like, I just don't feel it, or even worse, I just don't have it. Some guys do, but I'm not one of them, right? Maybe only when I'm drunk. The good news is getting in a social flow is easier than you think. Studies show that it's not a personality trait, it's more of a mental muscle you can train. And every muscle, you need to warm it up. The principle of flow state has actually been extensively studied, right? And this is great because we can use this research to our advantage and apply it to meeting ladies on the street. The 5 steps of flow. Okay, so what's the first out of 5 steps of flow? Step 1, simple techniques to get into a flow state. So the stage 1 is usually the resistance phase. This is where you're totally avoiding the task. You know this probably in your work, trying to be productive. Suddenly you have an impulse to clean your room, or you need a coffee real quick, or you need to hang out the washing, and everything is more important than the task. Now I thought this stage was just the way I am, right? For me personally. It was a huge relief to understand this is actually a process. After years of being an introvert and thinking I was just stuck, it was a massive mental shift for me to think, oh, I'm not boring or awkward, I'm just not warmed up. The big change for me came when I started working with a dating coach, and he told me, Alex, you must have had some moment in your life where you were in a good mood, right? So he basically had me look back and reflect, were there times in my life where I was in flow? At first, all I could think about was the cringe. So parties where I felt disconnected, situations in classrooms where I felt disconnected, just, not being part of the social flow. But he asked me, what about with guys, when there was no women involved at all? Did you ever feel smooth with them? And I realized, of course, when I used to play soccer in boarding school, not in the first school, I was kind of like a nerd and outcast of sports, but later, every day I'll be running, jumping, laughing, no worries, right? No shame. And kind of like entering that animalistic state. And then I thought about a time when I was doing something I was good at, filmmaking. So we made this project in school, and suddenly in that project I was confident. I was able to direct people around and to laugh and to improvise. So then I thought about my time abroad as a social worker in Nicaragua. I was the only white guy there, and I was forced to learn a new language, to leave the house every day, to make social connections, to approach people, to interact in some way. Eventually, in that space, in that year, I had a group of local buddies. So yeah, I could be social. I was able to access that state sometimes. But the coach asked me later, what did all of these moments have in common? And I realized I was warmed up. I was in a social flow. I was stacking positive environmental conditions around me on top of each other, priming me for success and, feeling social. So maybe you're not a loser. Maybe you just don't have a good routine to get yourself in a social flow. And honestly, the modern world, does it give us any chance to act naturally? Like you wake up alone, you shower alone, you eat alone, you work on your computer alone, or you commute looking at your phone, you maybe say hi quickly to the coworkers and then you go a little box. If you work from home, there's 0 chances to get in a social flow. So you might spend the first 8 hours of your day without any interaction with other humans other than digitally. And then at the gym, possibly alone. Maybe gyms don't even have people at the desk anymore. You just check in with your QR code. You're maybe even afraid to end up in some TikTok compilation. So you head home, you order Uber Eats, your driver leaves the food at the door, nobody says hi, and then you fire up Tinder, interacting with like half fake profiles, half OnlyFans promotions, and like some hot girls in the middle. And of course, all day, no social interaction. Last resort, you fire up Pornhub. Shameful, sad, masturbation, post-nut clarity, you go to sleep alone, okay? So the next day, you're in a coffee shop and you see a pretty girl. Suddenly, you're supposed to just say hi and be warmed up and be Mr. Smooth, chill guy. Like, of course, you can't. It's literally impossible. So the question is, how can we break that cycle? Now, the next 4 stages are cool to know. For more info, you can look up that book by that one guy with the impossible name, but he basically wrote the book Flow. Stage 2, the struggle phase. This phase sucks, right? This is when you try and you fail, right? You pick up a musical instrument, a guitar, and it feels weird. Like you try to do something and it just doesn't sound right. You try to start a project, but you end up distracting yourself. Or you try to research or read something and your mind just goes off. And this is like you approach 3 different girls and you remember how much it sucked, how difficult it was. Then you would go into stage 3, low grade flow. This is where you start to get a hint that it's working. You start to feel it coming on. You're entering the zone, but it takes a while, right? You maybe done 6 approaches and now it doesn't feel so weird anymore. You feel a little more social, not like a complete robot. Nice, this isn't so bad. Only when we go in stage 4, the flow state, now we're in the zone. Everything feels smooth. You remember your passion, your training, whatever it is. You feel mastery to an extent. You solve problems faster. You don't even want to get distracted anymore because you're having fun now. Everything is efficient. Everything is easy to an extent and enjoyable. And stage 5 is called recovery and reintegration. Now, this is very important. You need to take a break when you learn something. You need to absorb, you need to rest, recover, and obviously prepare you in that pause for the next time you're trying to get into flow state. Now, let me pause here because it's very important to understand here that this is a cycle. You constantly reset. You will wake up and you will be back to stage 1. You can never do enough stage 1, 2, 3 that you never have to do it again, right? It will be like this forever and you just have to get used to that first 3 stages of trying to get in the zone. These patterns also play over a longer period of time. It can be within 1 session, it can be within a week, it can be months, years. So there's micro and macro versions of you being in a flow state and things feeling maybe stuck, and then you have to kind of trust to come out on the other way. Okay, cool, we get the concept. So how do we apply this in a social context? We've accepted the core idea that you need to warm up and that you feel the most resistance at the very start, okay? That's when the most haunting thoughts come up. So let's first imagine the easiest possible mission that we can achieve. So here it is. You ready? The big crazy approach anxiety cure, so to say. Go outside. Then that's it. Literally just go to an area where people are and walk around. You don't even have to talk to anyone. I know it sounds like stupidly simple, but hear me out. Good. Let's go. Go to an area where there's people with the thought in your mind that you might approach someone. You're just moving your body towards them. That's already a form of stepping out of your comfort zone. By not sitting at home, but actually being in a social area, you're already challenging your beliefs. You're already being confronted with all of those dark thoughts that are entering your brain now. So you're basically having, let's say, a physical experience of what day game feels by just moving your body towards women without talking to them. No theory, no forum posts, no YouTube videos. It's just you on the street facing your fears. So this is already very confronting. And that's the first step. Just go somewhere and walk around. So these haunting thoughts will be different for everyone, but you might think stuff like this. You might think, I feel like everybody's watching me. You might feel, I'm walking around like a creep. People know that I'm acting weird. There's too many people around, this is weird. Or the girl already saw me. I need to have an excuse to talk to someone. I can't possibly just, engage. Oh, I need a coffee first, or I don't have the right jacket, or I'm just in general not dressed very well, or I should have a shower, or I should get a haircut first, or she's on the phone, she's in a rush, she was wearing headphones, she just went in a shop, she just went out of a shop, she just went down the metro, she's probably busy, she was with her boyfriend. Your brain will flood your mind with this kind of shit in a desperate attempt to make you stay safe. And it's trying to protect you. It wants your ego to remain stable. So, facing those thoughts is already a huge task. And you can't help yourself to overcome those kind of thoughts if you don't go on the street, walk around, and even think about approaching someone. So, that's the first step. By the way, if even that is maybe too much, or you've done that already and you need help implementing the further steps, you can book a free consultation call below, and we help you implement the knowledge that I'm teaching on this channel. The next mission is also super simple. You're gonna say hi to 10 people while you walk past them. That's it. Nothing else, no follow-up, no conversations, no expectations, no compliments. Just say hi and keep walking. You'll probably get one of three reactions, right? Either people ignore you, or they look at you like you're a bit weird and crazy, or some people smile back or say hi back. And this again seems very simple, I get it, but that's the point. It's easy to do. That's why we're using it to get into a flow. You don't need hot girls, because you can do this to anyone. Grandmas, construction workers, people walking in a store. Like, you're literally just saying hi to people, right? You're training yourself to accept from the start those three reactions we talked about. You're basically learning, separating yourself from an outcome. Now at this point, you're gonna hit a low grade flow already, right? You're putting energy out there. You don't really care about the reactions, and you care less what people think. And you basically realize all these dark thoughts you had before, they're only in your head. Part 3, troubleshooting. So what if you're still struggling at this point? I made a quick list that you can save on your phone for the next time that happens. So here's certain routines. Build a routine where you walk through the city every day. Build a routine where you do talk to your barista. Small social interactions, like one question apart from how are you, right? Then start a new hobby where you have to talk to people during class. This can be dance, can be improv, art. Go out with a wingman. It's number 4. He doesn't have to be good. He doesn't even have to approach. He can just be there to support basically, and just be there and just like mental support. Another idea, pay a friend 100 euros and tell him to give you back 10 euros for every approach you do. Or just call a friend and be on the phone with him, get into a social mood with him, and then express that mood to other people. And of course, last but not least, if you're actually serious about implementing this and becoming more social, you can hire a coach. If you want to work with me, I do a few consultation calls every week where I analyze your situation and offer you a solution. So I hope I can help you with these flow tips to get you in a social mood faster, easier, less cruel every day. And then you can work your way up to conversations, compliments before, going deep into emotional topics, taking girls on instant dates, escalating, taking girls home. But obviously, that's more advanced stuff. Again, if you really need help implementing this, hire a coach, book a call. I would love to help you, right? Now, if you want some inspiration of how to do it, what to do after a compliment, you can watch this approach here, where I break down one of my in-field cold approaches, step by step. Probably very informative for you because I got great feedback from the community for this one. So you can watch this video next. See you.